Hello and welcome to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is August 20th, 2019 and we are on show 113. Hola y bienvenidos a otra discusión de 5K tenis. Hoy es el 20 de agosto de 2019 y estamos en el programa 119. 13, sorry.
So this is also like our first breakfast time show. Generally we do these late at night or in the evenings. It's raining today here in Dauphin Island, Alabama, so sometimes we welcome rain. It's been a busy, really busy past 2 weeks, hence kind of the lack of daily shows with coaching, stringing. Beautiful but hot weather. We've been mighty busy on court, so today was raining, so we got up and said, let's go! Let's write a show, come on! So we are here for show 113, and as well we are on US Open quadruple eve or something like that. We're about 6 days away from the beginning of the US Open. So I know this is Carla's favorite time of the year. Mine is Wimbledon. So I know you're very excited, right?
Yes, qualifying round started. I think yesterday they played their first round of the qualies. Today is the second round. I saw a few players that did not make it already. Big names that did not make it.
Have we seen Sabine Lisicki in this qualifying round?
I did not see Sabine Lisicki's name.
All right, well, we're going to get right into the results of the Cincinnati finals. We're going to get into that. Obviously, we're going to start our U.S. Open or pre-U.S. Open discussion shows now with basically every other day shows until the beginning of the U.S. Open or let's say right before the tournament starts, like draw. Once the draws come out, we'll probably start knocking on the door every day. But by the way, you can catch up with us on Facebook, Instagram, on Twitter at 5K Tennis 1. The other two are just 5K Tennis. And as well by email at 5ktennis@mail.com. And all those links are accessible. If you expand the video description field, which is a little black arrow generally next to the title on a mobile device, and all those links are there so you can click on them and get right to us. So here we go. Let's kick off U.S. Open shows. As always, Carla and I do daily shows during majors, and just before majors start, we like to talk about our dark horses, people that we think have the ability to get into the second week and make some noise, some of our favorites. So we're going to get into that as well. Remember that we have 2 prize giveaways for every major that we do. So I'm going to rush through this quickly because when the draws come out, I'll spend some time and elaborate. But our first prize giveaway will be for the fantasy team selections. How those selections work, if you're new to this channel, is when the draws come out, complete your brackets. You don't get a PDF file of the draws or look it up online, and complete your draws. And pick yourself, once you get your draws completed, 8 men's players and 8 women's players. However, only 4, up to 4, can only be seeded in the top 20 in the tournament. So if you pick 16 players, 8 men, 8 women, only 8 of those 16, 4 men, 4 women, can be seeded in the top 20 in the tournament. The other 4 and 4, the other 8, must be seeded outside of the top 20. You can have as many over top 20 people as you want. That's up to you, but those people ranked or seeded outside of the top 20 will attain or give you 2 points each for every match that they win, while the one seeded within the top 20 will only give you 1 point per win. So we'll go over this more as we get closer to the U.S. Open, which is very close now. But the winner of the fantasy teams, or the top 2 winners, or point accumulators in a sense, will receive either a 5K tennis shirt or a YTEX Strings shirt. Some of the sizes are limited in both. We've given away a lot of each this year.
Yeah. You have strings too?
Or 2 sets of your choice of YTEX Strings. And again, we are getting a little bit low on those, but that's to be expected here at the end of the year. Much thanks as always to YTEX Strings for providing these prize giveaways, at least less the 5K tennis stuff for the fantasy team, because everybody likes them a lot. We'll go over more of that as the tournament unfolds or begins. As well, we are going to be giving away this Yonex V-Core 97 tennis racket. Very nice racket. Just recently strung it, put a fresh overgrip on it. It's got a 4.5-inch grip. I strung it with some YTEX strings at about 52 pounds, 52.5 to be exact. And it's a very nice racket. In order to qualify to win that, you must be subscribed to our channel, number 1. Number 2, when you get the draws, or you look at the draws, you will predict the men's final of the U.S. Open, and you will predict the women's final of the U.S. Open. If you get to that point, also predict both winners. So predict your men's finalists and predict the winner, and predict the women's finalist as well as the winner. If you get 3 of the 4 finalists and select both winners correctly, this tennis racket will come to you. Matt Cain in London won a Wilson Byrne 100S for Wimbledon. So it happens, and we used to do it where you would only select or have to select one winner. So it would be 3 out of the 4 and 1 winner. But because of the big 3, it just made basically the men's side way too predictable. So unfortunately, it's going to be both, unless one of the big 3 were to drop out and the other 2 on the top side of the draw. I mean,
I doubt it.
It becomes too easy to win a couple $100 tennis racket.
Yeah.
So just remember that. We'll talk more about it as we jump in to the U.S. Open. So how Carl and I will do this is, let's say the draws generally come out like on a Friday night. So that would be 3 or 4 days in a row, or 3 or 4 days from now. Carl and I will go through our draws systematically. When we get to the end of making our draws and predicting our finalists and making our fantasy teams, we will start our daily shows off right then, and we will reveal our selections on that show, and it will be daily shows up until the completion of the U.S. Open. All right? So topic number 1, Carla, is going to be the finals of the Cincinnati Masters, which in my opinion was compromised with a ton of withdrawals and some lackluster performances. So I'm going to turn it over to Carla. I've talked enough.
Well, we're going to show some pictures first.
Yeah, and she has some pictures from Wild Live 1, who is a longtime viewer here, who was at that tournament and sent us some pictures. So now we have 3 people in the Cincinnati area. We have Wild Live 1, we have Dave Raines, and we have Ted Chandler. Mm-hmm. So before the show, no one we know in Cincinnati except Ted, and now we know Dave Raines and Wild Live 1. Dave Raines came here before the show, though.
Yeah, and he actually got to see the men's final and the women's final. And he got to see quite a few matches. So he was there for a few days. Good for him. He sent me a whole bunch of pictures, and I'll explain them as I show them.
Yeah, let's check them out. I have seen these pictures. Thank you so much. They are completely awesome.
All right, here we have is the first picture of Kuznetsova actually serving. She was playing against Pliskova here. She looks to be in really great shape over here. As we know, she made the final. Next picture here is when she's playing Pliskova. I'm sure you guys can tell he was really close to this one. He got front row seats for this one. Next picture is of all you Djokovic fans. Here he is hitting a forehand. He's at the practice court. We all know he lost in the semis. Are we all shocked that he lost at the semis?
Not really, and we'll talk about that, but not really. Not really.
To me, it looks like he's sitting to Janko Tipsarevic. That's what it looks like in the picture. Can you confirm that, Wildlife? It looks like it from the glasses. Here's Djokovic sitting next to, I guess, his buddy.
I heard that Janko Tipsarevic might have just retired.
He will retire at the end of the year.
Love that guy.
Here he is. That's a great picture of Djokovic actually hitting a forehand. And yes, that is Janko Tipsarevic now that I look at the picture. Great contact point right in the front where you should be hitting a forehand. Interesting short. He's got some interesting shorts on right now.
Do you see our clock still running on that?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Here he is hitting a backhand. He's got one of the best backhands. Perfect. Follow through right here. Next
picture.
Yeah. Next picture is of the ceremony. There is Madison Keys, your champion. Kuznetsova holding the runner-up trophy.
Runner-up trophy, yeah.
Here she is when the champion wins, displaying her trophy. Madison Keys, good for her. Here is one of himself. This is actually Wildlife One. Sorry that I showed your pic. I hope you don't mind. But
what's up?
Great picture.
He was with one of the Bryan brothers.
Both Bryan brothers. Here's a picture that I thought that was pretty cool.
There you go.
And that's it.
Too bad he didn't have the 5K.
Oh, wait. I have to show this one since Justin loves this girl.
Who?
Sabalenka hitting forehands. Perhaps her coach should train her other side because that's all she does.
It's okay. Should be all right.
And here's Madison Keys. He said she was really nice. She stayed there for 10 minutes giving all her fans autographs. And that's it.
Incredible pictures, bro. I really enjoyed the pictures. I know you and Carlo kind of were communicating a lot. I thought that was great. I think a lot of the time my fingers were getting puckered on my stringing machine. No, not my fingers. I'm long past that. But I was on the machine a lot. All right, so let's jump in real quick. I had written here, let's talk about the finals, but you just mentioned the Djokovic, him losing.
Well, let's talk about the women's first, because we did have a viewer that said we don't talk about the women's much. We do try to talk. We do actually. Yeah, we always fight for this. We always say that the women don't get as much coverage as the guys, and it's not fair, and that's why probably they can't justify the prize money. But we
must be a new viewer, because we make it a point to always start with the women, to talk about the women, to gripe about why they're more exciting now in a sense, yet they only get paid half at a lot of the tournament. So must be a new viewer. But yes. welcome. But yeah, we are big proponents of the women's game. Is just as equal as the men's.
Okay, well, your women's singles champion, as you know, is Madison Keys. She defeated Slavina Kuznetsova, the veteran. After this win, Madison Keys moves up to top 10. She will be ranked in the top 10. This is her 5th career title. According to her, she said this is her biggest title. She's 24 years old, so still has plenty of time to be in the tour. She started in the tour back in 2009. That's a while ago. She beat Kenin in the semis. In 2 sets, she beat Venus Williams, who made it to the quarterfinals. In 2 sets, Halep, 3 sets, Kasatkina, and Muguruza. So she had a pretty strong draw. This wasn't given to her. She actually had to play some good players to get to the final and win. Kuznetsova did not have an easy row as well. She played against Barty and beat her, Pliskova, Stevens, Yastremska, and Sevastova. Does Madison Keys have a chance now at the U.S. Open? We know she made a final 2 years ago against Sloane Stevens and lost. Pretty quickly, actually.
That's a very good question. Does Madison Keys have a chance at the U.S. Open? Yes, you are correct. I wasn't saying yes, she does, and I'm not saying no, that she does not. She did make a final 2 years ago against Sloane Stevens, and that was a final that I thought would be a lot closer, and it wasn't. But she's been here before. The only problem that I have with Madison Keys, and I think you said this before, Carla, is that she tends to only have one or two tools in her tennis toolbox. I'll clarify the metaphor. So look, if I go build a roof, and someone asks me to build a roof, and I only have a screwdriver in my toolbox, it's kind of hard to build the roof. I need a lot of other materials. Madison Keys, to me, has always been a pretty straightforward tennis player. She's going to hit big, she's going to go big, and she's going to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots, maybe that far, and she's going to win or lose the point. I think that a lot of her success against better players depends on court speed, I think. A lot. How well did she do at the French Open? I don't recall.
She didn't do well. She has not had a good year. This has been, I guess, the hard court. She does pretty good.
Yeah,
her year hasn't been a plus. I wouldn't say it's
been. So speed of court. If the court for some reason plays slower for her,
she likes fast.
She likes to play fast.
Yes.
And look, she has a chance no matter what. But when she meets a player that's playing fast too, that has some variety in the bag, she runs into some difficulty and always has. The tournament win here is, hey, great, spectacular.
She had some tough opponents.
Sometimes when it gets to Cincinnati, though, so close to the U.S. Open, there are always a lot of conspiracy theories that opponents may not dig as deep as they would if they were, looking at a $2.5 million purse. I do know that the women's and men's prize money at the U.S. Open is equivalent, right?
It's equivalent, but I had a lot of viewers tell us that the men's semifinals, they charge you a lot more for those tickets than the women.
Well, that's business, and that's politics.
Even though so far this whole year the women's side has been more interesting than the guys.
Agreed.
All the Grand Slams.
And we could argue that last year was equally as exciting. Again, I'm a Djokovic fan. He won 3 of the 4 majors last year, right? Didn't he win 3 out of the 4, or the last 2? No, he won 3 out of the 4 last year.
He won Wimbledon last year. He
won
the U.S. Open, and then he won the Australian.
Anyway, but sometimes...
And then he won Wimbledon again, so he's won 4.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that the big 3 have gotten old. I'm a staunch Federer fan, a Djokovic fan, but sometimes... it becomes mundane. It becomes, kind of the same old same. So the women for the past, arguably, year or 2, in my opinion, have been much more exciting, in my opinion.
Yes.
At the same time, though, I get from a business perspective that you want to charge more for tickets because, everybody wants to see the big, powerful man. But a lot of people forget that the women for the past couple years have really been awesome.
There's more variety, and we know that the top three, I think it's Osaka, you have Barty, and you have Pliskova, are all close, so they're all going to kind of rotate depending how they're doing in each tournament. They can all be one week, and then they can switch.
Yeah, and I think Halep's sitting somewhere like 1,300 points behind, but if Halep can win a premier level tournament and someone not defend some points,
I don't think it's going to happen. There's not many left this
year. And don't forget about Kvitova that hasn't been around. I know there's been some injuries, but you know, with someone like her, veteran Grand Slam champion, multiple, right? I mean, for someone like Kvitova, I'd be really careful with her. Sloane Stephens, again, I heard just departed with her coach. We'll get into that. I think Sloane Stephens could be dangerous. I
don't think she'll be dangerous this year. I think
maybe
her head
not.
is. I think she's concentrating more on her marriage. I mean, she's about to get married. I don't think she's concentrating in tennis. She looks really lost out there. We saw Osaka play pretty good at this tournament. She retired due to knee injury against, I think it was Sophia Kenin. She retired. She was playing a good match. She was still smiling. Is she good for the U.S. Open, or did she retire because she felt like she didn't want to push her body more?
You know, that's
Wildlife was there for that one, and it said she was serving, and all of a sudden she called the trainer.
You never know. Again, when you have a few $1 million, in her case probably $50 million in the bank, and you get the slightest ache or pain a week before the U.S. Open, chances are you should stop. Again, Cincinnati.
I thought it was smart for her to stop.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the tournament. It's a big tournament. However, over the years, it has always been questionable being such a big tournament a week before the U.S. Open, when historically a lot of people tend to use it as an expensive training session in a way, and a lot of people do pull out, and that's historical. That's nothing new.
We also saw Venus Williams, who played well. She got into the quarterfinals. I didn't even expect her to win the first round, so she did pretty good. Good for her. I don't think that I can still pick her going in the second week of the U.S. Open. I know you might. I just think that they had, people like you said that weren't really putting 100% into it. I mean, she got destroyed by Madison Keys. I think it was like 2-3.
For the first time in I think we've been doing fantasy teams, Carla, in one shape or form, basically the same way, different platforms, for about 10 or 12 years or something like that. For the first time in 10 or 12 years, I probably will not select Venus Williams on my fantasy team. She's in the top 10. I don't want to risk one of my top 10 selections on it this year. I don't think. She has markedly slowed down a bit, in my opinion. I'm a big fan, believe me, big fan. One of the best Wimbledon players that I've ever seen in my entire life, at least in her prime. However, I don't know if I'm going to risk my fantasy team selection on this one.
We also had Karolina Pliskova, another top seed, who lost to Kuznetsova. She called the trainer as well, injured. Can Pliskova ever win a Grand Slam? I mean, can she ever get through this? So many people talk about her, how she has potential, she has the weapons. I just don't think that she shows enough emotion on the court. She's almost dead when she's playing. You can never tell. She's like Medvedev, kind of. But worse, I will never pick her just because I don't think she'll win a Grand Slam ever. And I mean ever.
I don't know about the Medvedev-Pliskova comparison.
Well,
Medvedev can get downright. He can get angry, but
Pliskova is just like always the same face.
Yeah, Pliskova is like the antimatter of Medvedev. So
her smile is like this.
Look, I'm a huge Pliskova fan. I've followed the girl for years. She's made a U.S. Open final, right? Hasn't she made a U.S. Open final and lost to...
I don't remember ever her making a final.
Was it a semi? She's been deep at the U.S. Open. I may be wrong there. I shot that from the hip. I'm a huge Pliskova fan. I like the girl. She's got a twin sister. Alas, not playing at her level, or never really kind of has. But
she's 27, and the furthest she's made at the U.S. Open was a final in 2016, lost to Kerber in 3 sets.
There you go. So she's knocked on the U.S. Open trophy door and got the runner-up trophy. I remember that, and I remember that match. I forgot that she played Kerber, and Pliskova coulda, shoulda, woulda won that match.
I bet you she would have won that slam. Her career would have been a lot different. I just don't see it. Even with Conchita Martinez being her coach, I just don't. She just, for some reason, just can't get it together.
Yeah, I really like Conchita Martinez as a player, or she still plays, surely, but especially as a coach. I'm not fond of the women getting coaching on the sidelines at all. I think it's kind of just cheesy. and we've talked about it before. I won't waste time on it. However, there's one coach that when they come down to the sideline and they show it on television or during a match or a radio show or whatever, that I usually always turn it down. I'm like, geez, I can't look at this person getting coached on the sideline. It's just ridiculous. But when Conchita Martinez comes down, I always turn it up and listen to her. We are coaches. We coach daily, and sometimes I like to hear certain coaches, but some of them just talk like, yeah, positive, yeah. You're like,
Does it to her forehand?
You're trying to figure out what they're truly being paid for. But Conchita Martinez, when she coach, you can tell she's a coach. But a lot of these coaches, it seems like when they come down, are just their hair is too pretty, like Sasha
They're more like
Majin.
partners,
yeah, it's like they're a hitting partner and they're trying to look
like
so
partners.
good for the camera, be so positive, yeah. But they're really just kind of cheesy. But Conchita Martinez does a great job.
Yeah, Barty, will she do well? Will she feel the pressure here? I mean, she did win the French Open. Didn't do so bad at Wimbledon. Will she do good at the U.S. Open? I think that surface will be good for her because she has variety in her game. She knows how to take the pace off her opponents, bring them in, slice, hit. So I think this will be a good tournament for her.
Barty's variety is spectacular. On the flip side of that, for me on hard court, if, and I mean only if, and this is a not an easy if, but if there is a player out there on the tour, let's say, and I'm just throwing out a name, Osaka, Sabalenka, Madison Keys, big hitters, big ball strikers. She's a big hitter, is all I'm saying. Let's say Azarenka during her prime. Big hitters, Serena Williams, big hitters. The serve plus one, serve plus two, serve plus threes, even, serve plus 5 or 6 balls, but in other words, if you find a powerful player that's in their zone, in their range, and they find their shots, hit their spots with heavy balls,
but she can hit
with
too.
heavy pace, I get that.
Yeah.
But if someone like Barty, I think at U.S. Open, meets one of these bigger hitters that is on their game for 7 straight matches, boom, 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 like Serena in her prime in a sense, she's beatable. Her variety is compromised because her slicing and dicing, if that person that she is playing is on point, can really, if they get to now some of her touch is so incredible you can't get to it.
Yeah.
But let's say she's not on, some of her drop shots are too high, or some of her slices sit in the air too long. If she's off and someone can hit through that, then I think she's vulnerable. Is all I'm saying.
I have to disagree with you because I think Andreescu proved to us that you can do that on hard court and take that powerful player out of their element. I think you would have to be very patient. I've proven this. I like to hit hard, but I've proven that when I change my game around someone that hits the ball, it changes everything. They get lost. Their game kind of, now they got to think, what am I going to do? And I think if she can do that, then the big hitter has to think. They can't just hit the ball.
Yeah, I think Barty will definitely be in the second week. It will. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say she was stacked with some odd draw because of rankings. Let's say in the first round she'll
be number 2.
Yeah, but let's just say in the first round she drew like Yastremska, and then the second round she drew like Andrusova, just because of their rankings, which could happen. And then let's say in the third round she drew give me another one. Let's go Ostapenko. Could be because this could happen as well. Do you think Barty has the chance of going through? Let's say she gets an easy first round. Andrea Petkovic. Let's say she meets Ostapenko in the second round. Let's say she would jump to the third round and maybe play a Venus Williams. Is she safe through those type of matches?
Definitely, yeah. Because she's mentally tough. She's proven that when she's down, you never see her kick her racket, get mad, and that's what a champion needs. They need to be able to go through that, like Osaka's learning that, hey, you have to say, it's okay, next point, doesn't matter.
All right, so a hypothetical scenario, I just stated, and again, I like Barty a lot. So you think Barty would be safe if she was drawn in this tournament? First round, Petkovic, the German.
She would be fine.
Second round, let's say
She'll be fine her
Ostapenko.
first week, yes.
Third round, Yastremska. Fourth round, what about Petra Martic in there? Okay, now let's flip the player out. Now let's say it's Andreescu that draws, say, Petkovic in the first round, and then draws a Petra Martic in the second round, and then a Vondrousova, and then maybe
I don't think she won't face an Andreescu in the
Well,
first
what I'm
round.
saying is, would Andreescu be equally as safe as Barty?
If Andreescu faced those opponents, yes, she would be as well. Yes,
I would agree.
Those opponents are not. No, they're not going to take her.
I would agree.
Not those opponents.
But within those names, you have to watch out for Petra Martic. You have to. Vondrousova, you have to watch out for her.
I don't think her game is as effective on hard court. I'm sorry. Not Vondrousova. No, definitely not.
Just don't forget about some of these other girls out there that may cause some U.S. Open drama. And those are just a couple that came to my head.
Well, you have Stevens. How do you think she'll do at the U.S. Open? She didn't do good at this tournament, lost in the first round.
Sloane Stevens drops the coach after 3 months, and I understand that. I think the first time we saw coaching from the sidelines, Carla, with these two, obviously we were like, geez, we got to watch this again. But we wanted to check out the coach.
She's been through 2 coaches already.
Yeah, so the dismissal of her first coach, which who is now with,
didn't even last a week.
Yeah, so but didn't she her ex-coach from the days that she did really
Monica
well
Puig,
went to Monica Puig,
yeah.
and I think that hasn't done really that well either. So that goes to show you that the energy between coach and player is sometimes more than anything else. I felt like they had good energy. So I don't really know what happened in her losing the coach that stuck with her through the U.S. Open and so forth. However, I think she could play just fine at the U.S. Open. I'm probably not going to pick her on my fantasy team at all because I think it's too risky. And when it comes to these competitions that we do, fantasy team competitions, I really try to win. And I don't know if I want to sacrifice one of my picks. She's still top 10, right?
She's 11 now.
11, so
yes.
Yeah, again, one of my top 20 picks, I only get 4 of them. Again, sometimes I pick more top 20 picks. Because they score more points, but are outside of the top 20 picks. And I just don't know. I think I would agree with you on this one. I like Sloane Stevens a lot. Never really understood the chocolate milk sponsor. Not really a good thing for a tennis player to be chugging on the court. But nonetheless, I'm going to stay mute on her. I like her a lot, but I'm really quite uncertain of this U.S. Open for her. I think it may be an early dismissal, but hey, she could win the whole thing.
I think B-Dog, he sent us a picture of Stevens' career right now, and it was one of those dumpsters on fire. I thought that was hilarious.
Women.
Yes, women. Kenin, she did really good in this tournament. Will she be consistent at the U.S. Open? Sabalenka lost to Sakari. I will not pick Sabalenka. Kenin has a better chance of being picked. Kenin is consistent. I just don't think she has the whole package yet to win a Grand Slam.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one entirely. Kenin is a fine player.
I'm not saying she's not. I think she'll get to quarters, but I don't think she has yet that game to get to the finals.
I was totally going something. You cut my thought off. I was going in a different direction than where. Sabalenka, I think, will go farther than Kenin.
Okay.
Yeah, you missed the train on that one. So I disagree with you in a sense that about Sabalenka. I am a Sabalenka fan. A long time ago, one of our first year shows, I indicated, and this was after Osaka won her majors, right? Mm-hmm. I indicated that I thought that Arena Sabalenka, the girl from Belarus, I indicated that I thought she had the potential to win her first major before Naomi Osaka won her next major.
Right.
Everyone laughed at me. I got drilled about that. I understand that right now Sabalenka's erratic, and she may always be. She's a big hitter girl, kind of like Madison Keys. Mm-hmm. And Madison Keys in Cincinnati was dialed in, and she was able to hit her way through the court and win the tournament, right? Sabalenka hasn't quite been able to do that yet. She hasn't been able to find her consistent 75-80% of good shots to go in the court instead of going out of the court. She tends to miss a lot of balls and going for too much too early. However, Sabalenka, I think, when she does find her range, and I'm confident that she will, I think she will hit through someone like Kenin. I think Kenin's a great player, really do, but she's one of those really small, teeny tiny frame girls. And when you meet one of these really brute strength girls, one of these strong girls, and they're on point, like they're hitting their shots, their range is dead on, it's hard for little girls to beat them, I think. I mean,
I don't know. Sakari did beat her at this last tournament.
You think Sakari's a little girl? She's like the most jacked up girl on tour.
But she's short. She's not a big girl either.
Sakari looks like the Incredible Hulk, but female.
But she's like 5'5", 5'6". She's not tall.
Sakari's a beast.
I'm sorry, but she got beat by the one that hits forehands off her back foot, and you're telling me she's going to beat someone like Kenin. Come on.
No, look. Wait a minute. Sabalenka doesn't hit her forehand off the back foot. That's Sakari.
Right.
Who's talking about? You brought her up. I'm not even talking about Sakari.
I know that, but Sakari beat Sabalenka.
Okay, well, great. Like I told you, Sabalenka hasn't found her range. I just said that. So I think Sakari, even though I think she's a specimen athlete, she is built very well. Let's just leave it at that. I think Sakari's a subpar tennis player. I don't care who she's beaten or not. I get that she just beat the person I'm trying to beef up, Sabalenka, but I did say that she hasn't found her range yet. If she does, watch out. That's all I'm saying. But I think Sabalenka makes noise at the U.S. Open. I think Sabalenka makes more noise than Kenin. at the U.S. Open. We already have a bet on Sabalenka.
He already lost one and hasn't done that bet.
I'm just waiting for her chance.
Let's do that bet because I take that bet any day.
Okay, well, okay.
Kenin will go further than
Right.
Sabalenka, hands down.
What'll happen is here's the first bet for the U.S. Open. I say that Sabalenka goes farther in the U.S. Open singles draw than Sophie Kenin. I say she goes farther, and if I lose that bet or she loses, you, the audience, get to decide what one of us does on this show. Okay,
yeah.
And I'm sure there's sometimes we forget about our bets, but there's a lot of viewers out there who don't forget anything. Like Wayne Chia, he remembers everything. Like even videos that I do just for fun that don't even involve tennis, he'll remember. Homeboy remembered a jellyfish out in my yard that I didn't even see. I don't think. Anyway, maybe I did see it.
All right.
But anyway, okay, that's bet one.
All right, well, women's double, Lucy Radecka and Andreja Klepak win against Annalena Gronfield and Schwarz. So they win their women's doubles title. These girls win a lot of doubles titles.
We watched a lot of their matches this tournament too. We do love doubles. We play doubles often. Matter of fact,
see, I like watching them, so I learn a few things.
Yeah.
The singles is different from doubles.
Yeah, and as we are now in our 40s, sometimes if we play a couple of sets, it takes me a day to walk right again. In doubles, we can tend to.
Just him, not me.
Sure, you've been talking about after you served yesterday all day, your chest was hurting.
No, I've been feeling chest pains for a while. Maybe it's a serve, maybe, I don't know. Daniil Medvedev defeats, we're going on to the men's, David Goffin for his first ATP 1000 men's title. Good for this guy. He beat Djokovic in the semis in 3 sets.
Not Goffin, Medvedev.
Medvedev. I'm talking about Medvedev, the winner.
Yeah.
He beat Djokovic in 3 sets. Djokovic complained about elbow injury in this match, but gave credit to his opponent. He beat Rublev, he beat Struve, he beat Paire, and he becomes now the 5th seed in the men's ATP Tour.
Should or do you agree with Medvedev's 5th ranked or fifth in the world ranking? Do you agree with it?
No, absolutely I don't.
I do.
I think it's from playing a lot of tournaments.
I do agree with it, and I'll tell you why. In the top 5, obviously you have the big 3: Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, whatever.
Right.
Number 4.
TM.
Yeah, number 4 TM. Number 5 Medvedev.
Yes.
Outside of that is people, in my opinion, that can switch around at will. Medvedev has been, to 2 straight finals, winning one of them, something like that?
He made the Rogers Cup final and got destroyed by Nadal.
That's okay, hey, to be expected. That's not why they're in the top 3.
That's why I have to wonder about Djokovic.
That's why they're in the top 3.
I have to wonder about Djokovic. Did he really give it his all? Because, geez, I mean, he is better on hard, I think, than Nadal. I don't know.
Yeah, Djokovic will have the edge, in my opinion, and you guys can say I'm crazy, but I think Djokovic does have the edge leading into the U.S. Open over Federer and Nadal. I think.
I don't know about his elbow injury. Maybe it hurt, but I still don't take away chances from him.
Look, so I watched this match. Actually, I didn't get a chance to watch it live. I was kind of fast forwarding through a recorded version. It looked to me that Medvedev, after having lost the first set to Djokovic, during the second set, changed his tactics up and started going big on his first and second serves, and it worked, and it gave him a win, and a big win, right? The only problem I have with Medvedev at the U.S. Open, though, is if that is a tactic change there. In other words,
3 out of 5 sets.
3 out of 5 sets to keep up the big serving for that long. If it were to go 5, is difficult. You can ask Kevin Anderson, Ivo Karlovic, go back in time and ask any of the big servers. Ask Isner how hard it is to serve big over 5 sets. However, going back to Cincinnati, to me, as it's just, and I didn't have any volume up. I'm just kind of at night. You're sleeping, fast forwarding through it. It looked to me that
it wasn't at night. We were here. My dad was here.
It? Oh yeah.
We all thought Djokovic was going to win. We saw the first.
That's right. That's right. So he went from serving subpar in my opinion to now going for first and second. So he changes his tactics up. I don't think, though, that this is a big deal for Djokovic at all.
It's not.
I just don't.
It's not a big deal. When he lost, honestly, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, he'll be fine for the U.S. Open. It's different to play a 3 out of 5.
I do agree, though, with his top 5 in the world ranking.
Well, you might be right.
Take away Djokovic and Nadal, Federer. They're in the league of their own right now. And then you have TM, who's been questionable, and then you have him, who's been consistent all year long.
You're right, because number 6 is Zverev, and we know he's had a very bad
Give me
year.
the next 4.
Nishikori's injured all the
No way.
time.
He's not even a threat.
Tsitsipas has been pretty off this hardcore season.
Okay, yeah.
Khachanov,
Okay,
he just showed up.
Maybe Khachanov should be around number 6. Maybe.
Batista Gut. Yeah.
Okay, you said enough.
Yeah.
So he deserves to be there. Now, real quickly, if Roger Federer loses to Rublev, I do find that to be a worry there.
I don't. I think more like, hey, I don't want to face Djokovic.
Well,
I just lost to him at a Wimbledon, and it was crushing enough that I still can't get through it.
Well, yes and no.
Yes.
I think
and Rublev got destroyed in the next round.
I think Djokovic's a loss is nothing. I think Roger Federer's loss to Rublev, and let's be real, Rublev is, I mean, really and truly, I mean, he's a fine player, but he's just
Medvedev
he's
destroyed
not that
Rublev
great.
6-2, 6-3.
At least not yet.
No, I don't think he's great.
Exactly. So I would find it more okay if Federer lost to, say, Medvedev like that, but Rublev is just not. He'll get there. He's one of the up and coming guys, I think, but he's not physically a specimen. He doesn't move as gracefully as obviously Federer. I don't think that was, I don't want to play Djokovic, I'm gonna lose 3-2 or 3-3 to Rublev.
Did you watch the match? I watched the match. I watched a lot of it. Even when they shook hands, you can tell he was not really worried about this.
Maybe so, maybe not.
Come on, Justin.
No, maybe, what I'm telling you, I think it's a little bit of a worry that Roger Federer, arguably the greatest of all time, goes down that quickly and that badly. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't think that the top 3 like to face each other in smaller tournaments in the semis. I'm sorry. They were concentrating on that record in the slams. All right, on to the men's double. Dodig and Polasek win over the Colombian team, Farah and Cabal.
That's a good
Farah
win.
and Cabal, they've had a great year, by the way. They won won Wimbledon, and they were the finals at the Rogers Cup. So great win for the Croatian, the Slovakian.
Yeah, those double teams are spot on. But look, we've been watching a lot of doubles, and some of the doubles play, especially by these guys, is just exquisite.
Yeah.
The hands, the touch,
the
the feel, the hands, the anticipation, the execution, the placement, especially up the middle and drawing them in and then taking the lanes. Really impressive doubles. So is that it for Cincinnati?
That's it.
Couple of things I just jotted down. I knew you were writing that, but here's a couple of things that I wrote down. We just talked about the Djokovic and Federer losses. I wrote here Federer's, for me, was a little bit more worrisome. Does anyone think, and these are yes or no questions, answer them quickly, or maybe they don't come out like that, but was the tournament compromised at all with all the withdrawals? Was it a lesser popular tournament? Was the energy kind of subdued because of all the withdrawals?
Well, we knew Nadal wasn't there, Thiem wasn't there, Federer lost early. Yeah, it was, definitely.
Does Madison Keys doing well, does that make her a threat at the U.S. Open?
I have her on I made a little list here, and she's in my list. I always hope the best for her. I would love for her to actually win a slam. I think she should have won the U.S. Open.
So once again, in my opinion, the women's was much more exciting than the men's. This is seeming to become a normal trend at this point, at least for I know Carla and I, and I'm sure a lot of you. But they're still paid half in this tournament. So Montreal or Toronto for them, half. Cincinnati, half. But yet it was.
And they're playing 2 out of 3 sets. So most of you viewers that are against that and say, "Oh well, the man played 3 out of 5." Well, they played 2 out of 3 with a lot of withdrawals.
For Svetlana Kuznetsova is someone I followed for a very long time. Had an opportunity to watch her courtside at the U.S. Open in 2007, play Justine Henin. Henin dismissed her quite easily. But one thing that we've talked about since we started this show is screechers, women that screech. In other words, hit the ball. Even hitting drop shot. That's a screecher. We don't like it. The grunting for the men, the screeching on the women's side.
There was one viewer we had that said he played in whatever semi-pro or something like that. Usually, I read a lot of people's comments and I don't know what to believe, but he said that's just horrendous, and he used some colorful language, and he said no one should grunt.
Yeah, I would agree with whoever said that. Now, sometimes, serving and you're tired, you might let out some air, make a sound when you're serving really hard or hitting a hard ball. I understand that. But a screech on every ball, including drop shots, it's just unacceptable. However, we started something called a Screech Hall of Fame, right? Mm-hmm. And we have already 5 inductees. I think it's Schiavone, Azarenka, Sharapova, Halep, and Allison Risk. Yes. And we forgot to make Svetlana Kuznetsova a first ballot Hall of Famer.
She needs to go in there.
Before I enter this in, this is a viewer-generated list. All of you have helped with these first 5 entries. should we go ahead and put Svetlana Kuznetsova as a first ballot street of famer?
Definitely. You should even add Serena at the end of her career too. She's been grunting a lot.
Well, yeah, but I mean, ear piercing.
She's like, ugh.
Yeah, but these girls that are already in there sounds like they're sawing their own legs off every time they hit a tennis ball.
It sounds like two cats.
Should Svetlana Kuznetsova be a first ballot street of famer? We forgot about her.
Definitely.
U.S. Open prize money will be equivalent.
Yay, good for them. Because their parents pay the same amount that the men pay.
Yeah, last time we checked, tennis lessons cost the same.
They cost the same. I don't charge a girl less because she's a girl. They're the same price.
Yeah, when I go eat my dinner with my team and I'm paying or whatever, however it goes down.
You're a woman, so let me charge you $4 and your guy $8.
Yeah, I think the local Best Western or Marriott or Hyatt or wherever you can afford to stay, I don't think they say, all right, you're a woman, I'm charging you 10 and I'm going to charge that dude 100. I don't think your gas is half as cheap. I don't think the plane tickets are gender biased. But anyway, I won't start on this. We've done 3 videos on that.
More than 3.
We always get asked when new people come, have we ever? Why don't we talk about that? We have 3 videos.
Many times.
And if you want to see those, if you're new, actually, we were in a conversation with what was his name, Trevor or something. I forget. On the last video, and on the comment section of the last video, I put 3 links to those 3 shows. So if you're new to the channel and want to hear us rant about the prize money deal and some other things like cheesy, like the Laver Cup and how cheesy and ridiculous that is. Go to those videos. Anyway, do we, and this was the last thing I had, paint a more exciting women's draw for the U.S. Open, or is it going to go back to the men's?
Yes, women's is going to be exciting. Definitely going to be exciting. Here you have Serena trying to win 24. You have Andreescu trying to prove herself that, hey, I won 2 big tournaments. Can I win a slam? You have Kenin. You have Madison Keys, Venus last year, maybe. I don't think so. But you got a few players out there. Halep maybe win another slam. Pliskova trying to win her first. Yeah.
Do you anticipate Serena getting to 24 majors?
I'm hoping, but I don't know.
I'm beginning to think not.
Hoping,
I'm beginning to think not. Some of these girls are getting better and better, and I think 24 might be tough to overcome. Now, again, Maureen Conley has been 24, right? Is it Maureen Conley? Margaret Court. Anyway, sorry, Margaret Court.
And Margaret Court, let's be real, when she won those slams, it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah,
it was in the Open.
It was the majority were Australian Opens, and a lot of people didn't play it then. Anyway, I won't get into all that.
And the draws were smaller. By the way, Anisimova is not playing this U.S. Open. She pulled out. Her father passed away yesterday.
Heart attack.
They said possible heart attack. He was in his 50s. Tough for this young girl. She's going to need a lot of support. I'm sure for her it's good to kind of step back from tennis. This is more important to be with her family.
Yeah, I heard
she was in my pick.
I heard about that. That was kind of I didn't expect to see that. Someone told us about that last night.
While I've said, is this true? Is this true? And I wasn't looking at my phone, so I looked it up and I said, wow.
So good, she should pull out. That's got to be devastating for a 17-year-old.
And it's her coach.
And her father was the coach and instrumental in her tennis, so she's surely devastated. Smart move here. We will see a lot more from her. Condolences to the family. By the way, thinking about someone that had a heart attack, shout out to my sister out there who just found out she has an advanced form of breast cancer. Caught it just kind of right off guard. So besides us teaching, coaching, stringing, we have been dealing with that. So that's kind of played into the lack of shows in the past couple of days. But hey, wish her well. I know she's going to try to fight really hard. So what we always like to do before a major starts is do a quick rundown of that major, who we think some of our dark horses are, maybe some people that we think that could do well, that maybe some other people wouldn't. So feel free to agree or disagree. Obviously, some of our favorites. On this one, we're going to start on the men's side. We started with the women's side on Cincinnati, so we'll start with the men's side here for the only reason that I think the women's side is more exciting, so we'll save the best for last in a way. But let's begin right now the pre-US Open discussion. So I'll start real quickly. We obviously have the big 3, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, all right? We know that all of them are going to be dangerous, and more than likely one of those 3 will probably win the tournament. So we will just leave those 3 out in a sense.
Of course, you have to, yeah.
And we'll be talking a lot more about them as we select fantasy teams and so forth. Now, one thing about selecting these 3 on your fantasy teams is that they're going to get you 1 point apiece. But are there some players that are seated outside the top 20 that you're going to get 2 points apiece from for each match that they win instead of 1? That you may think could win 3 or 4 rounds. So look, if I select a player that's ranked 30 in the world, and they win 3 rounds, okay, well that's 6 points. They lose in the 4th, I get 6 points. Well, the big 3, if one of them gets to the semifinals, that's 6 matches, so that would only be 6 points. So you have to think about things like that. It's possible that since everybody is going to select the big three, if you don't play fantasy, sometimes it's best to select more people that are getting you more points and forget about the big three because you're getting double the points with those seated outside the top 20. So some players that I'm looking at, and again, I may or may not select these people, but let's look at Daniil Medvedev. I think he has proved that he can be dangerous. Not Rublev yet. I already talked about this.
I think we'll see a lot of people pick Medvedev in this
I think Borna Coric could, but
Coric?
I think he could do well. But he's in that top 20, and I don't think I'm gonna waste a selection there. Bashlisvili, the Georgian player, he could do well, but he's in the top 20 as well. I think still. So I don't know if I would select that there. Riley Opelka, could he do well? How about Stan the Man Wawrinka? He's in that top 20, or is he outside still?
Oh, I thought he was in the top 20. I'll check right now.
So that's another one that I'm bringing up. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time here. We're just pitching out names so we can discuss them in comments. But these are some people.
He's 24, so he's
okay,
gotta be top 20.
And that's Wawrinka?
Yes.
So Wawrinka could get you 2 points per win. Is it someone that you would say, if he gets to a semifinal, 6 matches, that's 12 points.
But see, Del Potro's not playing, so that bumps somebody
But think about that. If Wawrinka's 24 and he has a decent draw and he makes the quarterfinal, you're going to get 10 points. That's more points than Djokovic, Nadal, or Federer could get you if they win the tournament.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of that. It's the only reason why I'm mentioning this. Are Grigor Dimitrov, Kei Nishikori, and Marin Cilic and Dominic Thiem even a threat in this tournament? They're all within the top 20. Are you going to select one?
I have Hurkacz. I think he'll do well.
Good
at
pick.
The hardcourt season is one guy I'm thinking of. Tsitsipas, because I just can't get away from him. I think, he didn't do so good this hardcourt season, but I think he'll be all right, at the U.S. Open. Batista Agut is another one I'm thinking of, just because he's consistent.
Now, remember, though, if any one of these players, you just mentioned Tsitsipas and Zverev, the young Zverev, not the brother Misha.
Not Zverev, no. I didn't pick Zverev.
No, you mentioned, you said just Tsitsipas. I was looking at Zverev.
Yeah.
But I had Tsitsipas.
I will never pick him again.
Would you be willing to risk one of your top 20 picks on Tsitsipas or Zverev?
I would on Tsitsipas, yes.
So you're telling me you would rather select Tsitsipas over Wawrinka, given that Wawrinka would give you 2 points?
But that's 4. You have to have 4
You don't have to have 4. You can have as many outside the top 20
I'm
as
definitely
you
going to
want.
pick Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer, and I'm going to pick Tsitsipas because I'm looking at my lower ranked players.
Yeah, now remember, when you select your fantasy team, you can have as many players, you can have all 8 players seated outside the top 20, but you can only have 4 if you want them seated inside the top 20. So it's not mandatory you have to have 4 in the top 20.
And her catch is like 41.
You could pick your whole fantasy team based upon people seated outside of the top 20 and have a highly likely chance of winning the whole thing because you're getting double the points. So all I'm saying is if you had to pick between Tsitsipas right now, or let's forget Tsitsipas.
I don't have to.
If you had to choose between picking Zverev or Wawrinka, surely you pick Wawrinka because you're getting 2 points per win and Zverev could lose in the first round. Now think about this. Let's look at this conundrum again. If you pick, say, Roger Federer, and everyone else in the group picks Roger Federer or Djokovic and Nadal, if everyone playing this game picks those 3 people,
They will.
everyone's going to do it. So you're all going to get the same 1 point, and then you're only going to be left with 5 players. Now let's look at someone that picks Hurkacz, Wawrinka, Dimitrov if he wins a round or 2. All I'm saying is if you pick a player that's ranked 24 in the world and they win 3 rounds,
A pair would be another one who's been consistent every slam this year.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
though?
I
If
do.
you pick, what's Pierre ranked?
He's ranked 30.
So
And
if you-
he's been very consistent.
So get this, and I'll stop. But if you pick Benoit Pierre, which he just mentioned the name, and he wins 3 rounds, right? That's 6 points he's going to get you. However, if you pick Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and they lose in the semifinals or don't make the final, that's 6 points. If they win the whole tournament, you're only going to get 7 points, and Pierre basically got you that at 3 rounds. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
So remember
let's
that.
go. Keep going.
Let's look at. I put who would you pick between Tsitsipas and Zverev? You just answered that. Nick Kyrgios. Let's look at him. He's outside the top 20. I think he's number 4 in terms of danger at the major because as long as he doesn't lose his cool, I think Kyrgios can win the tournament as long as he can keep his head cool. But that's a tough thing to do. But in New York with the rapper audience and the crowd, he might gel there pretty well.
I can't pick him.
I will probably pick
I
Kyrgios
will
on my
not pick
fantasy
him.
team.
No.
If you
I just don't think he has to change.
What about Jen Leonard Struff? maybe outside the top 20.
On and off, on and off.
Kachanov or Raonic, if you had to pick one, who would you
Raonic
pick?
has been injured a lot, has not played much. I would go with Kachanov instead.
If you had to pick between Raonic or Felix Auger-Aliassime, who would you pick?
Raonic or Felix Auger? Felix Auger. Yeah.
Correct. I would pick Raonic here. Still more experienced, bigger serve on the hard court. I would still. I don't know. Felix has got a good serve too, but I would go.
No, I think the crowd's gonna pump up the 19-year-old more.
All right, so those are some people on the men's side. Again, I didn't think about her cat. She could be dangerous as well. Don't forget about Laszlo Djiri, the Serbian.
Has not done well on hard court. Most of the Serbians have not done well, except Kecmanovic.
All right, let's push through the end. Women's side, pre-US Open discussion. Obviously, people are going to be talking about Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka. I say, however, not so fast. We had the knee issue. Maybe it was fictitious. Maybe it was theater. Maybe Serena's is mostly theatrics and theater. But I don't know anymore. I don't know. If it's theater, they're doing a much better job of hiding it than on the men's side. Some of the men's efforts are pretty apparent that it's not 100%. But I don't know. But I don't know if I'm going to risk Serena Williams or Osaka on my fantasy team.
I will.
Only because, again, those seated outside the top 20 get you 2 points.
I will.
There is a chance that this fantasy team tournament, I may choose every one of my players on the men's and women's side outside of the top 20. I might. Because you would have, that might be my strategy. Be warned.
I like Kontavit's chances as not such a high-ranked Vekic has done well this year. Keys, Kenin, Andreescu. I got even Collins. I know you don't like her.
So you're sitting with a lot of top 20 players.
Yes.
I see. I'm thinking differently this US Open.
Kenin is 20, Kontavit's 21, Vekic is 23.
It would depend on Kenin's seeding. If Kenin is seeded number 20 and not ranked number 20, if she's seeded number 20 or above, then she will be ranked, or she will give you 1 point.
Right.
So be careful of that. Again, if you have players that, if you had 16 players.
Kontavit's 21, Vekic is 23.
Look, if you had 16 players, right, and all of them were seeded outside the top 20, and all of them only won 2 rounds, that would be 32 points, right? 16 times 2, or 2 rounds, that would be 4 points. So 16 times 4 is what? 64 points? So if you pick a bunch of one-pointers that win the tournament, I would beat you if just all my players that I pick won two rounds. So be careful with that.
It all depends on the draw. I have to see how the draw looks, honestly.
Yeah. You're going to want to think crafty for this one.
Yes.
I've been thinking about it for a while.
Okay.
Here's some people on the women's side for me, and we're going to push right through the end of this. We're pushing an hour already. Not so fast on Serena and Osaka. I don't know now if Serena gets to 24. Barty, I'm still not quite sure. The slicing on dicing on the hard court can tend to backfire if we don't hit through the ball a lot, or if we meet someone that hits through the ball. We talked about that earlier. I had it written here. Pliskova, question mark. We talked about her already. Simona Halep. We've kind of forgot to talk about Simona here.
I didn't forget. I think she's beatable on her court.
We talked about Sabalenka. Is Sabalenka outside the top 20 now? I think she's inside the top 20, so I don't know if I'll risk her as one of my picks, but I may. Sloane Stephens, Madison Keys, we talked about both of them at length.
No, she's 9.
Svetlana Kuznetsova.
She's 64.
Maybe Kuznetsova is outside the top 20 fantasy team, possibly there. How about...
She is actually 62 now.
I find these 3 players kind of on the same level right now, and you all may think I'm crazy, but Bencic, Andreescu, and Konta, Belinda Bencic, Bianca Andreescu.
Bencic is 13. So.
And Johanna Konta, I kind of find them all on the same trajectory this year.
Disagree.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Talk about it in comments. I wrote here Sofia Kenin and Kontaveit. I wrote Kenin question mark because of where she's seated or ranked right now. It's right on the threshold. And Kontaveit can make noise, and I think Kontaveit's outside of the top 20.
21, yeah.
So we'll see how she is seated, though. Muguruza or Azarenka, question mark. Cibulkova would be a potential good fantasy team pick just because she's ranked at number 68 and she's capable of winning a couple of rounds. Didn't Cibulkova make a final against Li Na at the U.S. Open? Or was that the Australian?
I thought it was the Australian.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What about Helena Ostapenko, ranked number 75 in the world? Could she win you a couple of rounds, which means a lot of points, ranked out or seated outside the top 20? Question mark. Petra Martic, could she win you a couple rounds? What about Donna Vekic, a.k.a. Wawrinka's ex-girlfriend? She could win you a couple of points. I mentioned here Kuznetsov's dad. Sorry about that.
You mean Anisimova's dad?
Yeah, sorry. Kuznetsov's right under it. It just got jumbled. Anisimova's dad. salute you if you're out there. No way you're seeing this, but if you do, much love to you. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I know this is killing your insides now, but you will be a superstar, and you already are. Your dad is watching. Kuznetsova should she be a first ballot Hall of Fame screecher? We already talked about that. All right, last part of the show. Quick, rapid fire questions.
Well, no, let's talk about some Winston-Salem Open. I know because you rambled a lot, but Winston-Salem Open.
She's been tripping for like the past week. You're always rambling. I got a fantasy
But I
team
have to mention the Winston-Salem Open. We saw Murray play against Tennis Sangren. Lost in 2 tight sets. He will not play the U.S. Open doubles or mixed doubles. He said he wants to concentrate on singles. He did pretty well. His running, though, looks like it hurts.
Looked a little painful.
Ow. And then we have a player, a first-time ATP men's deaf player who won the first round.
South Korean.
Good for him. I mean, he will play her catch next. That's going to be a tough match. He's 21 years old. Does not speak English. He said that he feels the vibrations of the tennis court. Started playing at age 7, and he is ranked 212. We have a few players playing this tournament. I'll name a few: Tiafoe, Millman, Pear, Shapovalov, Berdych, Kemanovic, Ruud, Lopez, Sousa, Rublev is playing. And also the women are playing the NYJTL Bronze Open. It's probably going to be on just for this year. Lower ranked players. It's a very small tournament, but good for New York. I used to train there. They've upgraded these facilities.
Yeah, I saw the court there. That's the Bronx Open?
Yeah.
I saw the court there. The court looked pretty rough, though.
But they didn't paint them right.
But that's okay. Again, we know the cost of research.
It's a small tournament. $250 is the prize money. $250,000.
Yeah, I think the cost to resurface properly or to redo one tennis court is hovering somewhere around 10 or 15 grand. That's if the foundation, everything else is just laid. It's quite expensive to do a tennis court.
By the way, a few of you guys asked me, what's going on with Hyein Chung? Well, he's playing the qualifying rounds and won his first one at the U.S. Open.
Hyein Chung, the other South Korean.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, and you mentioned something about vibrations on the tennis court. The deaf gentleman who's overcome that. Again, it's tough to hit a tennis ball if you can't hear because you don't really know if it's framed or if it's clean or whatever.
That's what he's. Yeah, that's what he said.
But I think you said he can feel the vibrations. But that's how he actually plays the game in a sense. So he's deaf, but he can kind of feel the vibrations as he hits.
And the calls from the lines judge.
All right, so last part of the show, 12 rapid-fire questions. Answer them at home. Don't think about these questions too much. They're supposed to be quick. Answer it rapidly, the first thing that comes out of your head. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Question number 1. Do you ever go through periods of listening to different types of music? Like 1 week listen to the blues, 1 week rock and roll, or do you just stick to one thing?
No, I do. Many.
Yeah, I listen to many types of music.
Yeah.
Some people just listen to country or something.
No.
All right, number 2. Your favorite major tournament this year is what?
U.S. Open.
No, that's already been
that's already been played?
Your favorite major this year so far?
So far, the most exciting one to me? I like that French Open, the Nadal one, but I thought Wimbledon was a bit more exciting. I like the men's finals.
Yeah,
and Federer was exciting.
Agree with that one. 12 and the 5th, hard to beat that one.
Yeah.
Question number 3. Choose one of the following. A, steak. B, chicken. Or C, neither. Rather go green.
Chicken.
Question number 4. Choose one. A vintage board game. Or B, a modern video game.
The vintage board game.
Agree. Number 5. On the world stage. Or how about on the global or world stage? How important are the protests involving those in Hong Kong? 10 being extremely important and 1 being not very important.
10 important just because I read you and Wayne and Chia go back and forth about it.
It's absolutely important. A 10 out of 10 or a million on a scale of 10. Everyone should have the ability to have a say. Their voices should be heard. Everyone has the right to be free and not controlled by their governments in a sense. I won't get into geopolitics, but hopefully the people in Hong Kong are enabled to remain with a voice. Number 6. Sloane Stephens, after only a few months, has split ways with her coach. Is this a positive?
Yes, because if it doesn't work, throw it.
I think it's a good thing. I think she'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Question number 7. Out of these 5 players, who has the best chance of winning the U.S. Open? Roger Federer, Bianca Andreescu, Daniil Medvedev, Serena Williams, or Simona Halep?
I'll go with Serena Williams.
That was a tough question for me.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. I think I'll go with Halep. Question number 8. You look at your U.S. Open draws and you notice that Venus and that Venus Williams and Sabine Lisicki are playing in the first round. That is, if Sabine Lisicki makes the tournament or if she even plays at all. Hypothetical scenario. You see that Venus Williams is playing Sabine Lisicki in the first round if Sabine Lisicki even plays. Who do you pick to win?
Venus, just because Sabine Lisicki hasn't done anything.
Question number 9. Who was the better player? Gabriela Sabatini or Garbine Muguruza?
Muguruza.
I don't know.
Sabatini won 1 slam, Muguruza's won several.
I don't know, but Gabriela...
And
wait a
she
minute, hold on.
massaged
But Gabriela Sabatini was at the top of the game for years. Muguruza's only been at the top of the game for a couple, then fell off.
I know that, but I'm looking at the game styles, and Sabatini massaged the ball on her forehand side way too much.
Shocked by this. We named our daughter Gabriela after Gabriela Sabatini. She picks Muguruza.
She choked a lot, man. She would play Steffi Graf, and it was like disaster.
She beat Steffi at one point, though.
Disaster. It was disaster. She could have done so much more.
Where was it when Sabatini beat Steffi Graf in a final? Was it?
Well, she won, I think, the 1990 U.S.
Was it U.S. Open?
She won a U.S. Open.
I think she beat Steffi Graf in one final. I think Graf beat her like the other 7,000 times they played.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm always going with Sabatini. I named my daughter after her, or we named our 4th out of 5 children after Gabriela Sabatini.
Yeah, she beat Steffi Graf 8-6.
Told you.
Third set.
Question number 10. Do you believe in karma, whether positive or negative?
Absolutely. I think anything you do bad in life comes back to you. Anything you do good in life comes better for you. Yep. I believe it, yeah.
What goes around tends to come back around.
So you better be careful what you do with your life.
Question number 11. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how important is it to be kind to others?
100.
Be kind because everybody is fighting a hard battle. Who said that? Plato? Mm-hmm. Be kind because everyone is fighting a tough battle. It's a good quote. Question number 12. Choose one of the following. Nothing but a few friends sitting can maybe hardly play the guitar. Mm-hmm. Or B, a movie at the local movie theater.
I guess I'll go with the campfire.
Let's go, campfire. Let's get down.
They weren't really good choices, but okay.
Shoot, I'm loving a campfire. Let's get down.
Minus the guitar of the person who can't play.
Shoot, I'll be listening to Twang Twang. I'm loving it.
I listened to that already.
So? Have someone creep in from the back with a horror movie or a horror story, a ghost story, middle of the woods.
There you go. Let's take out the person that can't not play the guitar.
A couple of little deer coming up to, maybe chill with you or something. Not the bear with the bear or the mountain lion. Maybe a moose comes up. Ooh. Yeah, leave the bear out. But anyway, I say, let's go campfire. Come on. Mm-hmm. All right, everyone, that is it. Much love to all of you. You are kind of our players box. So, the Djokovic deal, the Usny thing. What's the Usny deal? Doesn't Usny kind of do something like this? No.
I know. By the way, Usny is playing doubles with Shapovalov at the U.S. Open.
Let's get down, Usny. One of my favorite players.
We do what Djokovic does now. He goes like this now.
Do it. Serena does. Well, how does?
No, this is Venus.
How does Sharapova? What does Sharapova do?
She
does like a pirouette.
She twirls around like a ballerina. Yeah.
Bunch of cheesiness.
She does it good. She spins good.
All right, so that is it. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's always appreciated. Daily shows will begin, say on the eve of the U.S. Open beginning. So start prepping your fantasy team thoughts, your finals predictions. Obviously, that will become more clear when the draws come out. Generally, I think they come out Friday night. Thanks very much to Ivor Savage, owner of YTEX Strings, great friend who has taken care of our string needs long before we did this show for what now, since 2014. We started the show last year. So, again, much love, my bro. Hope you're well out there.
Love your commercial on the starter kit. By the way, guys, you should check that out. Pretty neat.
Yeah, check out the YTEX stuff at www.ytexstrings.com, or we have a separate playlist for all of our reviews. The latest one we did, we were actually playing some tennis in, so check that out on a separate playlist. It says YTEX Strings and Apparel Reviews. Thanks much to all of you, our player box. Much love. And that's it. We'll see you soon. And as Carla always says,
adios.
Go. Come on. Let's go. Shoot. All right.